What is going on, everybody? So if you don't know me, my name is Theo Horn, and this is my company, just my home garage. I call it Horn Garage. I build a bunch of cool stuff, a lot of bikes over on that side, truck, Supra, whatever. This is my project Miata that I've had for probably 6 or 7 years now, and it has gone through a bunch of different iterations and turbo builds, lower horsepower, higher horsepower. I've had nothing but bad luck, so it is time to put an LS in it, and fingers crossed it treats me well. I took a trip down to Florida in July and visited Taylor Ray. He was selling all of his LS swap parts because he is putting a NASCAR motor, like a Dodge V8, 800 horsepower, something crazy, in his car, and sold all of his swap parts. I did not get the engine, sadly, but I did get a lot of his other pieces. I think I went over it in one of my previous videos, but this is going to be an unboxing of everything I have purchased since then, which is just under $25,000 in LS swap parts, which is crazy to think about. I had planned to do this swap for around 15,000 was kind of the goal. And as I kept ordering parts, I realized that goal is not going to happen. Simple as that. But I also did not want to cheap out on anything, and I wouldn't say I did. I got my deals here and there. Buying a lot of stuff from Taylor saved me some money. A few of these pieces I had bought secondhand off of like Marketplace and whatnot. But a lot of these stuff was ordered on Black Friday to try and save a couple pennies. And other than that, just been pacing it out over time. I put in like some 70, 80-hour weeks for the last couple months. Had a little bit of play money, and this is the result of the play money. So I'm going to do a little bit of an unboxing, kind of showing off what I had purchased to do this swap, and what I was recommended towards to try and make this as reliable and as easy as possible during the process of building it. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous. For the most part, the only thing I was really scared about is wiring, and I think I figured that out. I had a few people help me through Facebook. Taylor had reached out, recommended a couple things. I think I'm pretty much sorted to start the build now. I think I have everything. I made a list that was a mile long and just purchased a couple things each week. And here we are. So the only thing I do not have at the moment is the engine. I'm picking that up Thursday, but I have a huge surgery Friday in which I will not be able to carry these parts in and out with ease like I did today to get this here. So I'm going to get done with rambling and yapping and just get into showing what I had purchased. I think I'm going to show some of the bigger items first so I can shove those back in the corner, and then start unboxing things to show what I had purchased, the reasoning behind those purchases, and I don't remember the cost of everything off my head. I have it written down, but I use my phone to film, so I can't look in my notes while I film. But it's fine. I'll try and remember everything as I go. And let's get into it. I'm going to go over some of the bigger ticket items so I can just kind of put those on the side because the unboxing is the other stuff. But I'm going to show what I got from Taylor because that's the bigger things. And then I'll put those away, get into unboxing. But right to left, LS, whatever. 1, 2, 3, C6 intake. It's a little bit rough. Filter's kind of smoked. It's got some marks on it. I don't know if I'm going to use this. I might try to, but she's a little rough. Next up is a radiator from, I believe it's from Monster Miata. It has 2 Spale fans with a custom shroud. Fans are phenomenal. Taylor said his car ran absolutely beautifully cool on this in Florida heat, lap to lap to lap. So should be plenty good for me. Another huge one that is going to save me a bunch of time, and I don't know about money, but he said just materials, and this is what I paid for most of the swap. So custom long tube headers. I believe they're 1.5 or 1.75 runners, meant to fit in a Miata chassis, obviously, around a starter. That's huge. Custom long tubes, sick. Next up is the full 3-inch titanium pie cut V-band slip joint exhaust. Again, this is, if you know titanium, it's extremely light and should give it a really nice like tinny sound. Taylor said it sounded phenomenal. I heard his car in videos, sounded sick. Stainless long tubes, titanium exhaust, phenomenal combination, should sound rad. I have to do no sort of fabrication, nothing of that sort during the build now, which saves me a bunch of time, so that's cool. Brand new, well, it was brand new when Taylor purchased it, CD00A transmission, same thing as a CD09, just like the newest version. Has the Collins adapter kit, the Tilton adjustable slave cylinder, another huge thing. It's super nice. It came with a short shifter and stuff I'll get into. That's in a box somewhere. And then also from Taylor was the full drive shaft, custom drive shaft, motor mounts, the trans mount, radiator mount, sway bar brackets, and then this is an expansion tank. I'm not going to use this. Don't know what the plan is yet with that. Not going to use that though. And then obviously the front subframe to fit the LS into the Miata. You need that. That's from Monster Miata as well. Came with the rib nuts and a like skid plate over in the corner. Kind of nice. So that'll be very beneficial to have. I think that's all of the big ticket items from Taylor. So we're going to get right into the unboxing now. Holley. Wish this was a sponsored deal, but I've heard phenomenal things about Holley, and that's who I went with. Again, pinched pennies where I could not pinch pennies on the engine management and cluster. So I went with their digital dash. Beautiful packaging. Comes with a mounting template, foam. Boom. Simple as that. I went with the like 7.1 inch display, something of that sort. And then I took the time to build a cluster mount for the Miata. So this will screw right to this, or bolt I should say. This will mount in the OEM location of the Miata. And I have everything I could ever need in this. It's connected through CAN straight to the Holley Terminator X, which I will get into. And this will display pretty much whatever I want. I don't think I'll be able to see like fuel level and speed because I don't have the speedometer GPS module. Could do that though, but I don't really street drive my car. Not too worried about it. Oil temp, maybe not oil temp, coolant temp for sure, oil pressure, and all the necessities you need right in front of your face. So that's a big one. Plus the simplicity of just a tablet screen. Looks good, works well. That's what we want. Next from Holley is I went with their Terminator X. It's their ECU, and that comes with, in this box, is the actual ECU. As you can see, nothing too special, just a black box essentially, but this was a very expensive purchase, so it is what it is. And then it comes with a full harness, engine controller harness. I don't want to take it out and go through it. This is the injector harness. I loomed it a little bit better than it was just because you could see wires bothered me. Comes with a wideband, your full engine harness. The ECU, like I said, dash plugs right into this. This will control everything engine related. You have to give power to this, obviously, from your chassis harness. Simple enough, though. I did not know this did not include. So if you're watching this and you're doing a swap, it does not include a coil pack harness. I did LS3 coils, so I had to bought an LS or a Holley LS3 coil pack harness. These are on eBay for like $17. This is $230 from Holley. I did not want to risk any sort of wiring issues. Some people said those are labeled wrong. I'm not going to deal with any of that. So this is everything Holley related, everything engine controller related. Should be sick. I'm super excited about this. Heard it's super user friendly. Plug right into it. It comes with the little like 3-inch screen. You can tune your whole car through this screen, or I can go through my digital dash, I believe, but I'll probably use this. You plug in, type in whatever, what injectors you have, what coils you have, what's displacement motor, and everything of that sort. So, and then it starts right up is what I've heard. So let's hope so. Kind of dummy proof, and I'm a little bit of a dummy when it comes to this. Should treat me well. That's everything Holley related. So we are done with that. On to one of the next 743 boxes. Alright, I'm not going to yap about every single box I open, because a lot of the stuff is pretty boring, to be honest with you. But I'm going to try and explain each part and my mindset behind it. So, I have to be sure I'm not showing off my address as well. So I'm going to, yeah. This is another pretty simple box. A battery cutoff switch. I always disconnect the battery on this car. It doesn't have a parasitic draw, and it definitely should not after I build a wiring harness, but still very important to have a quick battery shut off in case of any sort of malfunction. That's that. So this is kind of cool. This is called an AccuSump system. If you do not know what an AccuSump is, I'll open this up to show you. Holy cow. Okay. That was kind of tough to open. So, I should get a knife. An AccuSump system is pretty simply a cylinder. I went with the 3-quart. This is half filled up with air and half filled up with oil. So you put these clamps around it, that's what these are for, and you bolt this inside of your chassis. You hook this end up to a roundabout system for your oiling. And long story short, this is like a secondary oil pressure system for your motor. You have 2 options on an LS, is what I'm told, because they have oiling issues. One is a dry sump system. That's $5,000 or $6,000. I understand your motor is expensive. Keeping your car running is expensive and very important. I did not want to spend that, so I went with the AccuSump system. I was told this is also very, very good, so I'm hoping it is. An AccuSump system, it essentially, you do a fitting, 10A is what most people do, 1/2 inch, to like an oil filter relocation. Then it goes to this, always oil filter before this, and from this to your motor. What happens is there's a plunger in here, and you put, say, this has 30 pounds in it right now, 30 psi of pressure. Usually you want to do, I think it's like 12 is the magic number. I would have to check that. And as you're drifting, your oil pressure is going up and down. Your plunger inside of here is going up and down. If you ever experience 0 psi oil pressure in your motor, this is technically supposed to have that oil pressure. And again, I went with 3 quarts, so 1.5 quarts of oil is half. Your plunger in here will push that oil into your engine in the event of lost oil pressure. It's very confusing. I've watched countless videos. I called Canton, which is the company that makes it, countless times, and I went with this system here. Gosh, this packaging is not easy to open. this is pretty simply a valve. This will go, this was more expensive than this. But anyways, this will go on the end here, and you'll wire this to a switch. And what also is cool is if I turn this on, that plunger, since there's 0 psi in the engine, when I turn this on and the engine's not running, it'll fill your engine with oil to pre-oil your engine, which is super interesting. It's literally no downside to that. Pre-oiling your engine, so when you go to crank it, there's already oil in the system. But this has a valve, a pressure valve, this little guy here, whoops, and it reads oil pressure. And if it goes under a certain amount, it immediately fills your motor back up. Again, they have so many different part numbers for a product like this. I was on the phone with Mo, his name is Mo, for a half hour talking about what I'm doing with the car. Super, super helpful company. But this was probably in total $1,000 without lines, which that just reminds me I have to buy AN lines, which is not cheap. But this should save my motor in the event of any sort of oil sloshing. I also purchased an oil pan, which insert that video right now. So this is going to be like a random fill-in part of the unboxing video because I have to drop some parts off at the engine builder so he can put them on the engine, and they're kind of exciting, so I figured I'd just toss them into this video. So it's literally 5 boxes. I already open everything as you've seen to kind of look at it. So first step is a harmonic balancer, crank pulley, whatever you want to call it. I forgot, I have to look at my list. I think this is like a -1 spacing, so I believe it's a C6 harmonic balancer, whatever, brand new. I believe I went with Dorman. Yeah, Dorman brand. That's that. Next, I've got brand new GM crank pulley bolt. Can't go wrong with OEM, and you should probably get a new one every time you take your pulley off anyway. So another important piece, I got ARP head bolts. I was not planning to do this, but my buddy who tunes LS's, Nash, he recommended doing these. And for like 120 bucks, you may as well. So I got ARP head bolts. I didn't ask anybody, but TR6 spark plugs is what I saw on a bunch of LS forums, and a bunch of older dudes were recommending these. So that's what I got. If the engine builder wants to use something else, or if I was recommended anything else, I'll change it, but I wanted to have them on hand. This is from Michigan Motorsports. They're in Niles, Michigan, actually. I used to kind of work up there at Redbud Motocross, so it's kind of funny. I just ordered a brand new LS2, LS3 timing cover. I just wanted brand new aluminum, and it comes with the sensor, pigtail, gasket, bolts. The dude, engine builder, said he has some, but why not get a new front main and all that kind of stuff. So that's that. And then another big one I'm pretty excited for is this one. I'm going to drop my microphone. Hold on, slight delay. So, I'm going to set this down because it's kind of heavy. Next up, we got the oil pan. I went with the Moroso, like LS Miata C6 race oil pan. I actually got it used. Dude never used it, but like he bolted it up to a motor. So he got me the oil pan, pickup tube, got me the gasket. So this one's kind of cool. I don't know if you can really see in here. It's got like little trap doors for the oil, so oil can come in, but it can't go out. And on top of this, I got a AccuSump system. Oiling's kind of scary on an LS, so I'm trying to not have any issues. So Moroso oil pan. And then gave me the windage tray that you need that's kind of cut up. This is a oil pump pickup tube bracket brace. So on an LS, they have 2 bolt holes that are threaded, but the oil pickup tube only uses 1. I don't know if it's focusing, but they only use 1 hole for some reason. So this literally like sandwiches the end of your pickup tube, uses the other hole. Just extra security, I guess you would say. When oil's sloshing around, you're not breaking that bolt off because that's a lot of leverage. So they make these on Amazon for like $7. I spent whatever, 40 bucks on a Melling because I'd rather have a brand name one. I don't know. Oiling's not something I want to mess with. And then in here, got the Wix oil filter, this adapter plate, which I'm probably going to end up having to not use this and getting the AN fitting adapters because I'm going to use the AccuSump, so it has to go through a whole system. I have to do a remote filter, blah, blah, blah. So I have it though. I'll probably do this for like initial assembly and startup, and then I'll plumb in the AccuSump system. But may as well keep the shavings from a brand new motor out of the AccuSump. So that's that. I just wanted to fill this in real quick because I have to drop all this off in 2 days at the engine builder. So got that done. On to the rest of the unboxing. I also purchased that stuff, which is getting on the engine currently as we speak. So that will help drastically with oil. This is almost like the no-brainer second hope that I never have an issue. Again, kind of a big purchase. Probably $1,500 said and done of extra money, which you technically do not need. I wasn't going to risk it. I want this car to run, and I want it to run well. So, AccuSump system. I didn't know it was blue. I thought it was silver. I'm cool with either or. Blue's kind of racy, so I'm about it. Valve, clamps to bolt it. I'm going to try and mount this in the trunk, I'm thinking. Should be everything I need. And then lines, obviously. But I'll have to order those. So that's this box. Miscellaneous odds and ends. MT85 for the trans. When I picked it up from Taylor, he said, "Do not let it fall over. It's full of oil." I said, "Cool. No worries, dude." Tied it down real good. First corner, that thing fell over and filled my bed. Hopefully a cord will cover it. Let's see what's in here. 350Z, 370Z clutch alignment tool. I'm hoping this will work. We're going to find out. I don't really remember what's in each package. Oh, cool. So, red spark plug wires, always going to make your car faster. It's extra horsepower. So, I went with some tons performance, something like that. I don't want to unpackage them all, but as you can see, black upper boot, red wire, horsepower, and it's got like a double coated ceramic boot around your spark plug. Should be pretty sweet. I kept the engine, as you'll see as I unbox more stuff, and once I get the engine I'll show you. I'm going with like a very, I think I'm getting old. I'm almost coming up on 30, so getting old. One with like a very simple color spec with like a little pop of color here and there. So, spark plug wires, again, pretty simple. Hopefully they work. I've heard good things about them. So, radiator hoses. I scrolled way back in Taylor's LS swap. This was the part number in the video. We'll see if they work. As I finished that video the other day, he said he had to get new hoses, and I don't remember if these were the before or after. Hoping they work. If not, plenty of stores down the street. Spark plugs, I went with TR6. Found some like Corvette forums and Camaro forums of people with LS3s, which I guess I never explained that, but I'll throw a piece in whenever I pick up the engine. But LS3 6.2 liter was recommended TR6s, so I picked up 8 of those. Just some stainless bolts. Those are for the headers specifically. Molly, whatever it is. Flange gaskets for the headers. Heard good thing about that brand. Part number for the serpentine belt. Again, nothing too special. Let's see what we got here. Some sort of poly. Okay, so these are, I just swapped to an NB steering rack, which is in one of those boxes. I don't remember what box is what anymore. So, whoops. Anyways, I had to pick up some red poly. They almost feel Delrin, to be honest with you, but I think they're poly. Prothane steering rack bushings. Always a good idea to upgrade your rubber ones because rubber is junk and soft and makes your car steer like crap. And of course I'd go with red because everything on the car is red. Next up, this was from Taylor as well. I just kind of bagged everything up to keep it organized. It's like the adapter plate, but it's a Willwood clutch master cylinder. Clutch master? Yeah, slave is in the trans. Clutch master cylinder to convert your Miata pedal to an LS or whatever, Tilton slave cylinder. Got that, the adapter plate. I have to paint that and get that sorted, but that's that. That's on the to-do list. To go along with that, this is from my car, but I did go down in size. I went from a 0.85 master cylinder to a 0.75. I had this from Hydro Setups. I went through like 6 before I chose one. So I have this brake booster delete, cleans up the engine bay significantly. I love how it felt. The pedal is like a rock. This should soften it up just a touch. Should be good. What do we have here? Oh, just a power steering reservoir cap. Sometimes they don't come with one. Mine did, so now I have 2. Nothing wrong with that. This is speaking of power steering, the power steering pulley. Again, your pump does not come with one. I don't know if it comes with a bolt. I'm going to find out here in a couple days. Power steering pump pulley. And then I ordered just a pack of stainless hose clamps. You get the ones from like Harbor Freight and stuff, and they're fine, but they corrode and they're pretty ugly and they strip. These are just off Amazon. I'm hoping they're strong enough to hold. They actually look pretty nice, but they're stainless. So, and they come in a bunch of different sizes. I'm very picky. Like, once you put a hose clamp on, you cannot let it just be like 1.5 inches too long. It's got to be like 1/2 inch to a 3/4 inch at most. So this comes with a bunch of different sizing, which is sick, because then you can like dial it in perfect to what you need. And then stainless shouldn't corrode. So that's a bunch of the random odds and ends. Let's move on to next box is sick. All right. This box I'm pretty stoked about. So actually, I'm going to save this one for later. Not later, but bottom of this. So, okay, this is the shifter. It's a GK Tech short shifter. It's the like shortest one to get the shifter as close to the Miata area as possible. I believe I still have to cut the trans tunnel a little bit, but that's that. I went with a Billet Works shift knob. I custom painted it to match my cage and whatnot. Cool. Long story short, Billet Works used to be Buzzed Trucks, Buzzed, which if you skateboard or longboard, you've probably heard of them. So I used to be a big downhill skateboarder, long distance pusher, all kinds of things. So just kind of worlds collide. He ended up making Billet Works. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of full circle longboarding world back into my drifting world. Support an old friend. I've been friends with him for like 12 years now on Facebook. Austin Barnett, again, Billet Works. Super cool product, really nice. Pretty stoked about that. Next up is TSP Performance. This is just from Speedway Motors, I believe it's called. Also, they're shipping Speedway Motors. Again, not sponsored. Wish it was. I would order something and it'd be here faster than Amazon delivers. I don't know what they're doing over there, but kudos to them. This is your steam port vent kit. LSs need this. Steam builds at the top. And then this connects the 2 front runners, which this is pretty stiff. That's fine. This connects the 2 front steam ports. I had just blocked off the rears. You don't really need that. That's how it comes from a crate motor from factory. and then your steam vents out of the taller one here. You can either route it to your radiator or Ryan, I don't know how to say his last name, super cool LS track car, Miata. He said you can just route this to your water pump. So I ordered just like a 6-inch hose, 4AM hose, to connect it to my water pump. Super short run, should keep everything really, really clean, which is obviously the goal of my car, as you kind of know. So that's pretty simple. Pretty stoked on that. This was not needed. So now this is one of the big ticket items that I'm super stoked about. I look on Facebook Marketplace in Chicagoland area, which is where I'm located. Daytona Beach, my mom is located. Then my dad is upstate New York. So I always check those 3 areas because my parents are supportive, super good people. They will go pick up whatever I need. And speaking of my rear subframe diff axles, if you saw that whole video, last video I think it was, maybe 2 videos ago, my dad picked all that up in New Jersey on his way to Tennessee. I went to Florida to pick all this up, stopped in Nashville at my sister, which I also checked there, on the way home, and it was like super perfect. But this was located in Connecticut. No, sorry, Pennsylvania. I saw Court. That was his address. Pennsylvania. A little bit too far for Dad to drive. I didn't even ask him. He probably would have. But I messaged this dude, asked him if he would ship it. Absolutely, hence the Chipotle box. And this popped up. I was not planning to do brand name for all this product, but this deal popped up. I don't want to say I lowballed him, but I got a super solid deal on all of this, and I'm really happy. So let's open it and let's get into it. So this is a OEM brand new LS3 intake manifold. I wanted to do one of the like mid-rise aluminum sheet metal manifolds. I was told absolutely not by my tuner friends, my LS friends. Heard they're junk, heard they don't produce power. This is what Taylor recommended as well. It's the highest torque producing, best flowing, strongest LS intake manifold. That's kind of a mouthful. What's cool about this is, one, it's brand new, so this thing's mint condition. Came with Holley Sniper fuel rails, beautiful product, and it came with the 92 mil Holley Sniper drive-by cable throttle body with brand new sensors, ICT plug for the map sensor, which I might have to run a map sensor. I don't really know. I will look into that. Usually comes with a silver fuel line. I had some extra vibrant lines, so I made this just to keep everything black and low key. And then for injectors, I did the OEM Flex Fuel 2016 Cadillac Escalade 50-pound fuel injectors, OEM GM. I was recommended these by a LS tuning friend. He said they are like the best bang for your buck. Sent me a link to a website that has a phenomenal deal on them. I did have to get new O-rings because the ones they came with didn't fit snug in here. After like each Advanced Auto only had 1 O-ring in stock, so I stopped at 8 different Advanced Autos, got the O-rings I needed. Everything fits well now. So this part's sick. This is kind of the piece de resistance, piece de resistance is I think the term they say. This is in your face, front and center, top of the motor, right in the engine bay. Bam, that's what it is. So spent the money on this. Again, I was just going to get like eBay fuel rails, eBay throttle body. I've heard fine things about them. But this whole package was cheaper than just the intake manifold I could find used locally. So, and this was shipped to me. And the dude was super, super cool. So, really, really stoked about this. Again, brand new. Everything's just beautiful. Black on black on black on black. Looks fast. Hopefully is fast. Reliable. Best intake manifold you can get. Put a little that foam on there. Pretty excited about this. That reminds me. I did build this. I copied Draco MX5, I think is his Instagram. I met him down at the Tail of Dragon 5.7 LS Miata. Beautiful, stunning car. But he posted photos of how he built his throttle body cable or throttle cable. So I just copied that. Simply go on here. Throttle cable, it goes to like the mounting bolts, throttle cable through, right to the throttle cable actuation. So super happy with that product actually. Turned out really well. Thick. Very nice. Very nice. So that's like one of the bigger products I'm stoked on. That is that. On to the next box. A couple more things that aren't super exciting. Male or whatever again. Valve cover gaskets. I was told those are the best ones you can get. Dipstick for the motor. I went with the, I don't know who makes this. I got it on Speedway Racing again. It's got like a black billet handle. Again, keep it kind of low key and hidden. I was told running the Holly Pan, you can run any dipstick. It's kind of confusing. I was told I have to order a special one, but then someone said your oil level is not based on the pan. It's technically from the base of the motor to whatever is where you want a certain height. Pickup tube, I would think matters. But anyways, I was told get pretty much any LS dipstick. This is for, or I went with a Moroso pan. This is for a Holly pan specifically. Probably Holly brand, but should work okay. Again, I don't really know what's in each box, so let's find out. Oh, okay. It's just LS3 coil packs. I found a website or a company on eBay that parts out brand new LS parts, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if it's a chop shop or what, but none of my business. Brand new OEM GM part number LS3 coils. I was looking at red ones, looking at yellow ones, looking at, there's a certain company that's pretty expensive. Looking at a few other ones like Dragonfire. I was told don't bother with any of them, get OEM. If this breaks, just run to O'Reilly's or Advance Auto or whatever, get a replacement. Don't have to really change much and then get a new one of these. But the thing is, these should not break because they're OEM and they're meant to do hundreds of thousands of miles. So that's that. Oh, this one's not. This is literally just an engine lift plate. You bolt this to where the valley cover goes, lift up the motor. I'm not even going to open that. It's just a black piece of metal. Another stack. So, okay. These are just the ARP. Let's see if I can get them out of this package. Holy cow. ARP extended studs. I did them in the rear when I did that video. Figured I should probably do them in front as well while I'm at it. Why not? Wouldn't hurt to. So 8 ARP extended studs. ICT billet. They make all of the, I ordered a few things from them. So give you a little lanyard. That's pretty neat. I ordered their, this is for their transmission plate. Hoping it works for the Collins one because this on ICT was like $30. On Collins' site, I think it's like $115. And it looked literally identical. So this is just converts your CD input shaft, transmission input shaft to the LS, your pilot bearing. So you need a custom one. Idler pulley, ICT billet. They're all like full billet accessory brackets. Comes with bolts, spacers, pulleys, packaged beautifully, I might add. So I went with, I think they call it like -1 spacing, low mount alternator kit, whatever. It uses the, I have a list in my phone, like the C6 water pump and crank pulley, F-body Camaro power steering pulley. There's a weird mix of parts. Like I said, I made a notes list in my phone so I do not forget. And if I ever have a failure at the track, I know what to get at the parts store. So that is for the accessories. These are just Zerk caps for the Zerk fittings on the control arms. Poly exhaust hanger, that's kind of dirty. Again, red. LS3 starter. I don't know what model this is off of. Taylor sent me a picture and said get this exact part number and this exact shape and size and exact starter, because they have two shapes for this part number, and he said one of them does not work with the headers. So I compared this to the photos he sent me. That looks correct. Got that. Stuff like that. Like, I think, does it have a price on here? No. I think that was like $200 and something. Stuff like that is what kind of hurts to purchase. Let's see what we got here. Power steering pump, again, F-body Camaro. Taylor had a bunch of issues with power steering in his car. I'm hoping I do not. I might, and I might regret doing this. I might end up going electric steering column. I might end up doing manual steering. I'm not sure yet. I figured, why not try this? I don't drive my car as often as he did, so this might last me 2 years before it fails, whereas it lasted him 2 weeks, 2 months, I don't remember. I don't mind replacing this every couple of years if that's what it comes down to, but we're going to find out. And then pretty simple is the alternator. Again, I believe this is a Camaro alternator maybe. I'd have to look at part numbers. But that's that. I went with a Pure Energy. Most of this stuff's from Rock Auto. If it fails, I'll end up ordering or just paying the money from like O'Reilly or Advance, so that way I have a warranty with it and can just get one in the store. But in the meantime, I figure for now, initial build, save my money where I can, and hopefully this stuff never fails or lasts me plenty long, a couple of years to get going, get everything sorted. We're running low on boxes. So this box, half is from Taylor, half is ordered. It is Monster clutch, so it's the clutch system. I went with the, again, it's just 6-puck sprung. This is all custom. It's CD splines, T56 face. So it's you have to order this custom plate, and then it's heavy. It's a lightweight flywheel. I believe it's lightweight flywheel. I don't really know, to be honest with you. That all this came from Taylor. Flywheel, pressure plate, bolts that are needed. Has the original clutch disc in there. He recommended ordering a new one, hence the Monster Miata clutch box. They highly recommended against just doing a new friction disc. Taylor said he's never had an issue. One of them works at a shop, trying to make money. One of them is a driver. Take that as you will. As you can see, I ordered a new clutch disc, and that's all. My heater didn't start. It's kind of cold, so if I sniffle, I apologize. Brand new NB throttle cable. Ordered this through SNS Mazda parts. Alex Todd. Good dude. Good parts. Good pricing. Nice guy. Can get OEM parts as well. So again, brand new NB throttle cable. That's what I was recommended to use. This is a water pump. So I got the thermostat and water neck as well. Water neck, thermostat's in there. That's kind of boring, you don't really have to see that. And then, this is the heater cord delete, bypass, whatever you want to call it. Goes right here. You see this on most LS drift cars, they mostly don't have heat. But water pump. I don't have a blower motor. I've got no sort of anything under the dash, so I do not need heat, obviously, hence the delete route pipe. This is, I remember getting this box at least. This is a kit from literally Amazon. Well, these are different, but it comes with socket cap, Allen bolts, all labeled for an LS. It was for like a 5.3 or 5.7. Said it won't work for a 6.2. A bolt's a bolt, essentially, and from what I can tell, they all correlate so far. LSs are kind of just like Legos, as Matt Mann says. So I went through and started painting these gold, as you can see, but just a bunch of LS bolts, because when you're rebuilding a motor or a car or anything from scratch and you don't have bolts, a bucket of bolts, it kind of sucks. So I would like to do stainless Allens, and like one bolt at Ace Hardware is like $2 to $5. This whole kit, which came with, I'd have to look, a couple hundred bolts, was I think like $50. So it's kind of cool to have. Nothing wrong with that. This is a Summit Racing Valley cover to delete like DOD and all the random crap. Anodized black, Summit gold bolts and O-rings. Summit Racing engraved in there. Really beautiful billet product. You don't really see this under the intake manifold, but if you happen to see a little bit, I've got a very nice product, and this is actually one of the cheaper options on the market, which is kind of surprising for how nice it is and looks and feels. That is that. This is valve covers for the motor. I went ahead and painted the oil cap gold. Might end up just painting it black, depending how it looks. I just went with black. They're like a little bit taller, like an inch taller, half-inch taller, something like that. I think whatever that distance is. I'd say probably an inch. I don't really know what that does, but these are literally like an identical copy of Holley's valve covers, except these ones are off eBay. And these are like $180 cheaper. So I didn't see the reason not to get these over the Holley ones. Tried to get some on Marketplace locally, and the dude was a jag. Like, whatever. Not a very nice guy. So I went ahead and bought these ones. I don't see why they'd be any worse than Holley. They're an aluminum cast product. Should be plenty fine. I believe this is my steering rack. Yeah, it's in like a garbage bag and stuff. Just an NB steering rack with the Monster Miata subframe for the LS. You have to run a NB steering rack, as I just said. And I went ahead and ordered one through, again, SNS Mazda parts, Alex Todd. Plenty of other people sell them, and there's plenty of other people that have them cheaper. But Alex goes through and disassembles and checks each one for leaks and a good condition, and will not sell a bad condition one. If you happen to get a bad condition one, I have a feeling he's going to stand behind his product. So I went with him. Now, this comes to steering lines. Reservoir is in the pump, as you saw when I unpackaged it. The line to connect this rack to that pump, I did not order yet because I have to measure for it. There's plenty of companies that make them, and I've been told they show up too short. And the way I do things is kind of different. I'm very picky about the placement of lines, products, how things look, how things are routed. So, long story short, I'm going to end up either making a custom one or having a custom one made or ordering one that is the correct length. Obviously, you don't know any of that until the whole car is together. So, stuff like that, I have a list of like 4 or 5 things I have to measure for once the car is assembled. That's one of them. So I did not order that yet. But that's that. I have one more box or one more package of products, and then we're done. Last but not least, wiring stuff. So ICT billet makes pigtails for things to make it a little bit easier. Alternator pigtail, starter pigtail. Again, that's just to make my life a little bit easier. They're already pinned and stuff. A little bit on the expensive side. They're like $24 a piece. It is what it is. I'd rather not deal with the headache. This here doesn't look like much, This is my full chassis wiring harness. As you can see, it's just wires, and that is because I'm going to build the whole harness. I'm a little bit nervous, but this box here is what's going to make my life easier. This is a race car. I don't really street drive at all. I might run to the fuel station and back, but that's about it. So I don't have a lot of amenities. No blower motor, no heater, no radio, no speakers, no window motors, nothing of that sort. I have a very minimal amount of products that I have to run. I ended up doing more than I planned to because of this product here, but fuel pump, starter, brake lights, headlights is about all I needed. But we might as well get into this. So this is going to be my whole chassis harness. I got some 12 gauge wire and some 18 gauge wire. Obviously 12 gauges for the bigger things, radiator fans, the starter, and fuel pump. And then the 18 gauge is for everything else you don't really need much power for. But this box here is kind of one of the more expensive options I could have chosen, but hopefully it'll make life easier. The company is Switch Pros. I think they're UTV specific actually, but I was recommended this from an LSFD guy. He said he has no issues. So I initially went with their 8-button panel, which comes with a PDM, but you cannot, I'm trying to think how to word it. The PDM outputs only related to the switches. So like switch 1 did 1 output, switch 2 did 2 outputs, or the second output. That's not going to work for my system. I have quite a few outputs that I would like different switches to do. I also have like inputs, like brake light switch to trigger the brake lights on. The A panel did not offer an input to output. Again, this is going to be kind of confusing. I drew a whole wiring diagram. This little thing here is a bunch of wiring diagrams. But if you open the product, it comes with like all the button stickers, kind of fun. Full manual on how to wire everything. A couple wire connectors. This looks like a mounting plate maybe for the PDM. Button cover. This is the PDM itself. This is kind of the big money product. So it doesn't look like much, but this eliminates a fuse box, and this is like how my whole car runs. You got direct plug and play, hence all the wires. And switch panel plugs into here, all your different outputs, and then your 4 bigger outputs, radiator fans. I should wrote it down. I should go grab it. Hold on. I definitely did not do this at work on the back of a pre-shift form, but anyways, wiring harness, pictures of what the switches will do, and then I made it nice for when I'm actually going to wire it. So I ended up doing more than I had originally planned because I had the option to. So the 8 panel wasn't going to work for me, sadly, as much as I wanted to, because this is, I might as well show this. This is the 12 panel product, or 12 button product, whatever you like to call it. Which, it's small, it's compact, it's nice. I don't know if you can hear it. Clicks pretty satisfying. But there's a lot on here. If it was just 8, that's so much nicer. But the PDM that comes with the 8 panel did not work for what I needed. I asked if I could run the 8 switch panel with this product. They told me no. Don't know why. None of my business. I don't know wiring well enough. So since I had all 20 outputs, I think it comes with. Yeah, 20 outputs. 24 technically. I ended up wiring quite a bit more into this car than I had planned. So the 4 bigger ones will control windshield wipers, starter signal, so the start button, fan 1 and fan 2 for the radiators. Those will end up being wired as like 1 button push, but you have to wire them separately because of how much power they draw. And I did headlights, brake light switch, ignition obviously, ECU power, so that's just literally sending power to the Holly harness, AccuSump. That way I can pre-oil like I had said a little while ago. Click it on, sends oil to the engine. Click it off before you shut it off or else it fills it back up, whatever. Google how an AccuSump works. Very interesting. Brake light switch input. Fuel pump. I have those wired as a parallel to be a higher output. And then left turn signal, right turn signal. I did not plan to put turn signals, but I've got 12 buttons to fill. Why not, right? And then running lights, ground, brake lights, underglow. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rock lights on my car. When I'm tying it down on the trailer at night, honestly, is like the biggest thing. I can see everything I have to. Click on underglow, lights up the whole under my car in white light. Pretty nice. So again, this will control, this will connect to these. It's all of this. Harness outputs, plugs right in. Full PDM setup, main battery power cable. This product was on the cheaper side of PDMs. This was, I want to say in total like $1,300. Kind of expensive again, but if I did like a PDM setup from, what's that company, ECU Masters maybe, or Holley or Heltec, with a switch panel from them, and I don't have a laptop to make it all work. This is all app driven, which from your phone, which is super cool. That would have been like $2,700. So this was probably the cheaper option I went with. Should work again just fine. The dude with the LS Miata or LS FD that I was talking to, highly recommended this product. I studied this at work for way too long. Made wiring diagrams, studied his diagrams. Finally, I got to a point where I understood it, and I could not change my mind on ordering this product. Like I said, I don't really love the 12 buttons, especially with where I was going to put this. This fits kind of weird now, but it is what it is. It has to work. Save myself a couple pennies. This will do. So that is all the boxes. That's everything I had shown in the initial start of this video. That's all for wiring. So that's all the boxes. That's all the products. Thank you for watching. I yapped a lot. I tried to skip through some of the boring products, but I tried to explain my thought process on each and every product I purchased and why I had purchased that item. I try to save money here and there, try to spend money where I have to. It still came out to, like I said, with the motor, $460. So we're just under 25 grand. Not including the car, anything car related. That's literally just LS swap parts. Thank you for watching. If you would like to see me build this car, I kind of cheated a little bit and have been disassembling it in my free time because I have such minimal. It's hard to set up a camera and get everything. I tried to video what I can. I'm going to be videoing, putting the car together as much as I can. But please consider subscribing. If you have any comments on what I should do different, I had a few buddies kind of reach out and say I'm very monotone. I apologize for that. That's just how I am. I don't really show too much emotion, but that's just me. So sorry, I'm being myself on camera. I'm not going to be like that. Whoa, oh my God. So that's how I am. I'm rambling. I'm yapping. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you did. Shoot me a like in the little thumbs up button. Drop a comment on what you're excited for. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Actually, I'm a very, when I have free time, try to help people where I can. I have a lot of people help me through these products, choosing, and it's nice to have someone to ask questions too. So drop a comment, ask a question. My Instagram, either I think it's horn_garage or the horny1. That's like my personal, that's the one I use most of the time. Feel free to shoot me a follow and shoot me a message on there. I will respond with what I can, my knowledge I have. But that's everything. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful one.